for May the 7th, 2024 is now called to order at 9:30 a.m. Mr. Dorcher would lead us in the invocation and pledge of allegiance.
Before we get started, I just want to let you all know, they don't usually call on me to pray. I pray a lot. I pray every day, and I just pray every day for each and every person. I pray for God's creation. I pray for our planet. I pray for our country. I pray for our state, for this county, for the city. I just pray for all creatures, great and small. And this is what I do every day. I do it on the elliptical because it passes time. It's real easy. And then next thing I know, 15 minutes has gone by. But I pray for all those who need Lord, all those who have Lord in their lives. And I just pray each and every day that we know the good Lord and that we're all the children of God. And each and every day that we live by his example and his son, Jesus Christ. So anyway, very untraditional, but that's the way I pray. So I pray for all of you that are in this room today. I pray for your safety. I pray for your families. And I pray that this board right here does everything that's pleasing to the county of Bradford County and to the citizens. And so with that said, I'm just going to end it with an amen. And I hope everybody here is happy with that. And just say amen with me, please.
Amen.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. If it would please the board, we'll make a slight change in the agenda, moving the sheriff's presentation up after the consent agenda, because many of the persons attending here are with the Department of Corrections and they have to keep us all safe, okay? If that's okay with the board, okay? All right. At this time, Sheriff, we're gonna, right after the consent, okay. At this time, we have public comment from Ms. Clark. And Ms. Clark, when you come up, if you can just speak directly into the mic. And let us know your name and where you're from.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Yolanda Clark, and I am from Lottie, Florida, and the majority of you guys in here know me. I am coming because I have really been chewing Miss Carolyn out, I got to be honest, about the ditch beside my house. I owe her an apology because we learned, and we need to see what we can do, that when they put the water lines in Lottie on 200B, they didn't put the pipe down right. So that's why the water is not running off. I'm really concerned about that because we have a lot of backup and the moccasins are real. I came to the board to see what we can do. I also was informed of how they treated Miss Carolyn and the individual that came down to the last meeting in Lottie. For myself, I apologize for them. The Bible tells me when you're in leadership, you held accountable for how you act. So I'm apologizing for that behalf because we in Lottie need you guys to come down and do the different things that needs to be done, from paving the roads to making sure our other part get done for our kids, because we are determined to keep our kids from being in the system. So on that note, I do apologize. I didn't make that meeting, but my concern is definitely about the city of Lottie allowing those people to put the pipes down, and they did not put them down correctly. The water cannot run out the pipe if it's not leveled. So that's my real issue right now about them digging the road up, but you didn't do it back correctly. So again, I apologize for chewing you out on that behalf because that's not yours, and I will deal with Lottie when I get there. But I do need to apologize about that.
Okay, accept it.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. At this time, we are asking for a motion for approval for the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion we approve this consent agenda.
Motion by Commissioner Thompson. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Reddick. Any questions, discussion? All in favor by the sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. The consent agenda is approved. All right. At this time, Sheriff Smith.
I do want to thank all the Inspector General's office and DOC being here this morning for this award. I got to say, in life, there's a lot of people that do things that they don't have to do. They do it because it's their calling. They don't do it for the money. They don't do it for any any pat on the back. They just do the right thing for the right reason. In this incident, I want to read to you because I'll get it right, because Major McKinley, and this is on behalf of one of our very own correctional deputies, a home which was saved with very minimal damage, and her pets were saved because of the actions of the three of these gentlemen. Now, two of them used to be with the sheriff's office, but they could make a whole lot more money with the inspector general's office. So they, back then, and they left us. But no, they did a good job for us, and they're still doing a good job for the inspector general Department of Corrections. So, but I want to read this letter as Major McKinley promised me to stay, she made me promise I'd stay on track and keep it timely. So, but on February 28th of this year, Detective Russell Gordon, the FDOC Office of Inspector General, was returning to work from lunch at his home in Rayford, where he observed heavy smoke coming from the area of a mobile home. At approximately the same time, two of his co-workers were returning from lunch and observed the same thing. Detective Register, which we know as Topher in our world, and Milton joined Detective Gordon at the home and noticed there was a very large fire burning in a wooded area that traveled extremely close to the mobile home and began to melt the vinyl siding of the screens of the covered porch. They immediately called the fire department and found water hoses inside of a shed and began to put water on the fire. Detective Gordon, knowing who the owner of the home was, contacted her at work. It happens the homeowner is Sergeant Lowry of the Corrections Division of the Bradford County Sheriff's Office. The three detectives worked on keeping the fire away from the home until the fire department arrived and the scene was secured. Sergeant Lowry was able to get her pets out of the home unharmed, and there was very little damage to the home. It was absolutely because of the quickness with which these gentlemen responded and the lack of thought of their own safety, Sergeant Lowry and her family were able to sleep in their home and make the necessary repairs within days. So to that, I want to say thank you. You could have drove on by, just dialed the 911. As we know, in a rural area of the county, it can be 5-10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes sometimes to get and in that time, that home would have been lost. But they out there smoked up, dirtied, in their work clothes. You see what they wear. They took the time and effort to fight that fire, getting in their shed, getting water hoses, whatever they could to beat that fire back and save that home. Major McKinley then took that, and I'm going to read one of the letters. It was to Inspector Detective Milton and to the American Police Hall of Fame for their efforts. And it says, "Dear Inspector Milton, Detective Milton, it is my pleasure to inform you have been awarded the Knights of Justice Award of the National Awards Program of the American Police Hall of Fame. Our staff members join me in commending you for your service. Your commitment to serving the public by performing good deeds is proof of your dedication to help the law enforcement profession and your community. You set an admirable example for all to follow. Again, please accept our congratulations on your nomination and award. The staff of the American Police Hall of Fame wishes you the very best in your future." So that was very nice, and we've got a token where they were awarded from the American Police Hall of Fame. And I'm going to read this, and they got it in that fancy writing, so bear with me, my Bradford County English. If I get the three of you to come forward. And I'll learn the same. I'm gonna get a picture with y'all and Sergeant Lowry if we can. She is very thankful. Y'all just don't know when your home's in danger and you could have lost everything. And without these three, that home would have been lost. And they took time out of their way, stopped, recognized the emergency, and did the right thing. And it says, "From the Venerable Order of the Knights of the Michael the Archangel, issued to Christopher Register, by the authority invested under the Charter of the Venerable Order of Knights, Michael the Archangel, the above named individual is hereby elected and proclaimed to be a Knight Chevalier." I think I'm pronouncing that right. "In recognition of a pledge to support efforts in a worldwide battle against crime and to carry on the modern day tradition to protect the weak and hungry against all evildoers. Issued April 22nd, 2024 at the offices of the American Police Hall of Fame. Jack Rendich, President. Michael the Archangel Award." This is yours. Thank you. Here's the award for the uniform. The BOCC allows that. I'm gonna give all three of yours. Milton. Make sure y'all got these. Y'all can see what they have here. that they actually send. It's a nice, honorable with a pin that they can wear, tie or whatever on their sports coat, but a uniform, it's got the award there. Yours. This is yours. If I can get with y'all to get a picture down here. Picture. Yeah.
Sheriff, y'all wanna just?
Yeah, we're gonna line it right down front here. If I get Sergeant Riley.
Sheriff, you stand back here. But they will stand there, but in here, get more room. Yeah. I'm grateful that we live in a community that values God, country, and our men and women of law. These guys, just like our other ones, representatives of heroes, and I really do appreciate them. Half Secretary Dixon and the Deputy Secretary, you take the time to recognize them for their service and their sacrifices. And like I said, if they had not stopped, and many times people would stop, they died like that. That house would have been lost, and the pets too. The pets inside the house, and that was made in the article that was wrote. Cats are like family members, so to me, and so many others. So congratulations to you that these folks are able to stay with your home to the family and the pets. I'm really proud of each and every one of you. Go down. I'm not going to take long. I'll just add with the following thing so relevant that I can't get out on that. I just appreciate you guys. You guys are very great example of our office. Sherry, thank you for recognizing them and how you're going to see this. I'm glad that they were there to give this opportunity. God puts us all in the right place, the right time. This is Correctional Officer Appreciation, Nurse Appreciation Week, and one of the things that Major McKinney's there. She's the one that submitted all the paperwork and submitted to the American Police Hall of Fame. She's not over here. They're crazy over there right now at the moment. But I want to say thank you. Thank you to y'all. So glad to be here.
I have the same thing, afraid about it. But, I used to work for the rescue, that's how I knew him. It was about a mile from my house, and, it was nothing short of the grace of God, and he saw his money, and saved my home. In some spots, the fire was close to 6 inches to the back of my house, and it literally looked like God himself, with a line, and saying, he said, look over and it's full. The vinyl siding, they get off in the middle, sticking out in my back door, and then all of the spray in my porch. And the person is, filled with water, and their skin was red. They were burning up, and they did not back up from the fire, and they huge fire, the woods were all three sides, my home burning completely. Thousands and thousands of dollars, people lost in that fire, and my home sat right in the middle. And he explained to me why I was saved. But he left me. And I said to my children and my husband, this place is real, and we're going to be struggling through this day. I cannot thank you enough. Thank you and take my heart with you. Before I was going to go down over, and they stood with me by my side. They stayed every minute. Rescue was called to me. I was here playing attack. The sheriff and the county came in and stood in my home and waited until everything was under control. I just never seen these men were dirty. They dug through a shed to find water hoses. We didn't have them connected. I don't know what put us there that day or what made me think that that could be my house, but I'm so thankful to you and the Lord. Thank you so much for what you did.
Thank you.
Right here, yeah, they want y'all right here, so you get the picture. I'll get in here. Mr. Sergeant Riley, you get right here in a moment.
And thank you all for being here, and congratulations to each of you for your good work. And we're honored to have our Inspector General and the Superintendent here with us today, and thank you all. Thank you.
Madam Chairman, thank you for allowing us to go first and take care of that. But again, thank you all. Like I say, it's a story that most people didn't know. It needed to be heard.
And bless you all for this is National Corrections Week and Day. Congratulations to you.
Topher was standing down there and he was as tall as I was. Up here, Topher, the guy was sitting right there, Christopher. He was as tall as I was.
Thank you. You all have a blessed day. Up next on our agenda is Ms. Tricia Wiley, Director of New River Public Library Corporation, and she's here with us today, and we're going to learn about the future plans for our library. Welcome.
Madam Chairman, before we go any further, we do need to take care of a bit of housekeeping. We need a motion and a second and a vote to officially dismiss Mr. Robert Perone as the library director.
Okay. Hearing the request from our manager, I have a motion for the dismissal.
Make a motion that we dismiss Robert Perone from his
Okay.
position.
Motion by Commissioner Daughtry and second by Commissioner Thompson. Okay. Any further discussion, questions? All in favor, sign aye. Aye. Any opposed? 5-0.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
You're up, Tricia.
Thank you. Well, I'm excited to tell you about some of the fun things we have going on this summer at the library. First off, let me just tell you about the Friends of the Library book sale that's happening this week. We'll be open May 9th and 10th from 9 to 4, and then Saturday, May 11th from 9 to 2. Prices vary, paperbacks, hardbacks, audio, VHS, DVD. We should have a little bit of everything, children's books. But Saturday is our special sale. It's $1 a bag, and it's going to be like the Walmart size plastic bag. So all these funds will go to the Friends of the Library, and the Friends are responsible for helping us do children's programs, reading incentives, and purchasing certain things that we are not allowed to purchase with state aid, like staff dinners and things to reward the staff. So everybody come on out and get some good books. Next slide, we have some of our children's programs. This is what's happening in the month of June for ages 0 to 12. Melanie Jackson and LaTanya Mitchell have worked really hard to put together this schedule. Everything is free, but some of them do request that you sign up, and those would be the more hands-on craft activities. The large performers don't really need to sign up. And we will have copies of these schedules to distribute soon, and they'll also be posted on social media. The next slide is what's happening in July, and you can see more cool programs. I forgot to mention this year's summer reading statewide theme is Adventure Begins at Your Library. So all these programs are going to follow along with that theme. And just lots of fun stuff going on. This is the teens. The teen department is staffed by Amy Turney and Mary Green. All these folks are super creative. Just lots of neat stuff going on. Teens can be a challenging group to reach out to, but they do a great job, and they have a dedicated group of kids who come in to hang out and make cool crafts and so forth. This is June, this is July, what's going on in teens. And I know I'm running through this quickly, but this will all be on social media so you can get a better detailed look at it. The next slide is our talented resident artist and adult programmer, Kathy Paddock, but she's doing a special theme this summer with all ages. So these are family events, and she's a very talented painter. She does ask that you RSVP for these just because she'll need to know how many supplies and so forth to have at hand. But parents can bring their kids in and do some painting projects, and that should be really fun. Again, everything is free. And the last page is her adult programs this summer. She does a few book clubs, and That's what these are talking about. She will often have them at restaurants where the folks can have brunch and desserts and stuff. So really fun events for adults as well. And all year long, she does really fun events for adults, not just summer. And the last thing I want to mention real quick is the cooperative got a grant for $3,000 to do a book giveaway going along with the theme. Our theme is going to be geology, and we got this geology book to hand out. And as part of the geology event, we're going to do take and make geodes, and you just, crack these open with a hammer, and you got the crystals inside. And we have 600 of everything, so we're hoping to get a really good turnout, and everybody can have fun with this. And that's pretty much everything.
All right.
All right. Any questions from Ms. Wiley?
Just
Thank
a
you.
comment, if I may. Just thank you for the update, and letting us know what's going on. We haven't had a lot of that, and so I enjoy knowing what's happening. I have grandkids, and so thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to talk about what these talented staff members are doing. They're dedicated to their community, and they're doing a great job.
And thank you. And we're fortunate to have Ms. Wiley, who is very knowledgeable, and look forward to good things for our library.
Madam Chairman, if I may, I just want to thank Trish for everything she's done since she's been here. It was actually her plan that she came to me with, where we made the adjustments in the personnel and the staffing that will end up saving the county about $85,000 and about $15,000 on the co-op itself. So yeah, we're off to a great start with new leadership, and I just want to publicly thank you for everything you've done so far. And Kim as well, she has been amazing, and she continues to be amazing. So we're looking forward to the future with the two of you. Thank you both.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, if I may, Commissioner Thompson and I sit on the library board for the co-op, and Trisha's been with us now for 7. Okay, I was going to say 5, but anyway, she's very behind the scenes, but she has really turned around that co-op and our programs for Baker, Union, and Bradford County. And it's just been amazing to see her grow and her people grow, within the counties. And just, a pleasure to sit into those meetings, and when she updates us and just seeing where we are now from where we were, it's just been an outstanding job. So I just want to point that out. And Kim, as always, smiley face, and look forward to seeing you more and being more active. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Thompson?
Like Commissioner Daughtry said, when she come on board, she come on with her feet down and running, and she ain't slowed down yet. She's like the little ever-ready bunny. She don't slow down. And I appreciate what you've done and how you've turned this around. And and Miss Kim, we love you too.
All right. Thank you.
No, she's done a super job for this Tri-County. And we're proud of y'all. Go ahead. And you got me in a Santa Claus hat.
Yeah. And Mr. Daughter wanted to
We
show
keep our
up.
picture right here in the front.
Right, here it is.
Thank you. Thank you both.
There you go.
All right. Thank you very much. And we have a slight also change. Item 5, Miss Dr. Sanders is going to reschedule. She's ill and won't be here today, and so we'll have her come back another day. Agenda item 6 is to consider approval of the purchase of the 2018 Ford truck, and Mr. Dodds is going to come up and speak to us about it.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
The need is a mechanic service truck with the full box with a crane with a capacity of 6,000 pounds and a 20-foot reach. In the past, we've been able to manage without having one of these trucks because we didn't get into such heavy mechanic work as we do now, where we don't outsource any of our mechanic work. We do all of it in-house. So if you could imagine being 10 foot in the air on a grade all, pulling the main cylinder out of it, it weighs about 1,500 pounds, and sliding it all the way to the back of the machine to get it out. It's a pretty difficult task. And my concern is to avoid a safety issue or injury is this would be the tool that's needed in the toolbox to make this project safer. And the ask is it's a sole source because it's a used truck. This truck new is about $280,000. This particular one is $80,000 and it's like brand new.
Dodds, is this similar to what you were asking? I know you and I talked about it, but is that, okay, I saw that this morning at I think so.
Oh.
Take a picture of it. That's,
And board hearing the request from Mr. Dodd, and they do want to be able to have the equipment to do the job that they need to do. Ask for a motion.
okay. Yeah, that one's got the bucket on the front. What, before we ask for a motion, let's talk about funding, where we're gonna get this from, and I guess that was in his email.
Yeah, I think he was indicating this would be, part would come from their reserve funds that they have, or their contingency fund.
Yes.
And so we can, Mr. Thompson is here from our clerk's office, from a financial perspective, seeing that this could come from our contingency fund. Do you all, from our financial department, see any issue with that?
You talking about road department?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
That should not be a problem. I have their contingency.
okay. All right. Any other questions from the board for Mr. Dodds? Then I'll entertain a motion for approval for his request.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the, let's call it a crane truck.
Okay.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Doherty and second by Commissioner Thompson. Any questions further? Discussion? All in favor but sign aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 5-0. And then you're up again.
Yes, and before we get started on it, I want to say that I did find a typo in this, and I just want to make it clear where it says Southwest 20th. That is actually supposed to be Northeast 20th.
All right. So note the correction for the Northeast 20th. Okay.
So we have received the quotes back that the board had requested on the chip seal roads. And that's for Southeast 11th, Southeast 84th Avenue, Southeast 213th, Northeast 17th, Northeast 12th, Northeast 20th, Northeast 20th, and Northeast 223rd Street, and Southeast 17th. And I'm very pleased with the pricing we got. It'll definitely help us save some money on engineering and permitting, and also the cost of chip seal versus paving. For all of those roads, the total, too many papers.
And the total was 348, 950, 34.
Yes.
Yes.
So if that's the pleasure of the board, I would ask that we approve that, vote to approve that, and also approve that as a gas tax projects.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is that holding up any better than it did when we started using that? The chip seal?
The chip seal's held up very well. It's the fog seal that fails. So the chip seal, like down on Pumpkin Patch, Southeast 30th, those roads have held up really good.
Any questions further from Mr. Johnson?
When do you think they might be able to start?
I believe it's June is what they're planning.
Well, Mr. Dante has been able to get us considerably great price in considering what it would have cost otherwise.
Yes, ma'am.
Any further?
Madam Chair, Mr. Dodds, you mentioned Southeast 11th. They're honoring their price that they originally came to us with.
Yes, sir. There was the mix up there where they had kind of reneged on what they were going to do and didn't do it. And we had a meeting with them, and that they have since realized that they committed to something, and that's what they want to make right. So
Good.
they are honoring that price.
Good, good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So thanks for putting the work into that. I know that that was a concern that we had as far as, some cost savings, and it looks like it is going to be considerably
Yes, sir.
much less. So good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval for the streets outlined by Mr. Dodd for approval from the gas tax funds.
I make a motion that we approve the chip seal for all of the roads that he has listed as red.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Andrews and second by Commissioner Doherty. Any further question or discussion?
Just a request.
Yes, ma'am.
And nothing against Mr. Riddick, but Miss Booner has asked for so long about the roads there. If there's any way that we could do hers first, I would just greatly appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Andrews.
Don't be mad at
No.
me.
The motion is on the floor. A motion and a second. All in favor by the sign aye.
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 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Dodd, you heard what she asked, right?
You're getting a paved road first.
Okay, thank you.
I have one on here too. Can we get to me before we get to Commissioner Riddick?
Now don't, hey,
Hey, don't push it, right? Thank you for your good work, Mr. Dodds. And
oh,
while he's up,
could I slide something in real quick?
yeah,
He's up there.
while
Oh,
he's
he's
up,
already sat down.
he with the limited number of staff that he has, he does a tremendous job. I'm always on his back, sending him pictures of this and that, and complaining about our highways and our road condition. And with the few staff that he has, he does his very best. And so he is diligently trying to see if we can get some help for him during the summer so that we can get our roadways in better shapes. But I really appreciate your efforts to get it done.
Yes, ma'am. No, and I appreciate the comments and the compliments, but it definitely goes to my staff. They are the ones that are out there busting their butts.
Yes. And Commissioner
Thank
Andrews.
you. But you supervise your staff and you make sure it gets done. So
Yep.
we do thank you. And I do the same thing. I'm always talking to him, and I apologize for that, but appreciate the fact that you're always very generous and kind when you get my calls. But I was going to ask you about 235. If we have a date or a time when because that road is really becoming destroyed.
Yes, ma'am. The geotechnical is completed. The survey is close to being complete. We're looking at close to probably the end of June before we'll have enough plan or 100% plans to go out to bid. I do have some concerns with that road right now, just because with the commercial truck traffic, I'm afraid it's not going to meet the deadline before we lose it. So I was actually prepared to come at the next board meeting and ask the board to consider allowing me to post that no commercial trucks until we get this construction done. Right now it's posted at 50,000 pounds, but that's not eliminating the trucks running back empty right at 50,000 pounds, and the road is deteriorating very quickly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do we have to do it at the next meeting, or?
Or give him consensus to
No, you can do it now by consensus.
Okay.
okay.
If you haven't been on it, it is being absolutely destroyed. It's about to fall apart.
Yes, and I want to be clear too, because there is some farmers that live down there that do hay farm. This is not restricting them. This is restricting the actual commercial truck traffic.
Okay. Consensus of the board.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank
all.
Thank you. Okay. Mr. Clerk, Mr. Danny Thompson is, we're gonna have our quarterly update, for department spending from January through March of 2024. General funds, our fire rescue and roads.
And Dana's fixing to give us quarterly.
Thank you.
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
Today I plan to present a brief update on revenue and expenditures through the second quarter of fiscal year 2024. If you take a look at the single sheet I passed out, we will be reviewing the general fund, the fire rescue fund, and the road department fund. This is also found on page 79 and following in your packet. First, we have the general fund. We began fiscal year 24 with a fund balance of $17.3 million. Revenue for the first 2 quarters was just over $10 million. Expenditures totaled $11.1 million, resulting in a use of fund balance of $1.1 million for the first 2 quarters, making the current fund balance $16.2 million as of March 31st. If revenue and expenditures continue at the same rate, you can expect the fund balance to be around $15.1 million by the end of this fiscal year. Do you have any questions?
I don't know.
Any questions from the board?
Well, I guess the 11 million, was that something exceptional that we went over, or was it just what we have budgeted?
That's just what we have
Okay.
budgeted. Normal expenditures. Anything else?
Any further questions? Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Follett.
Now, fire rescue. We began fiscal year 24 with a fund balance of $806,000. Revenue for the first 2 quarters, including budgeted transfers from the general fund, was $3.9 million. Expenditures totaled $3.7 million, resulting in a savings to the department's fund balance of around $280,000 for the first 2 quarters, making the fire rescue's fund balance $1.1 million as of March 31st. If revenue and expenditures continue at the same rate, you can expect fire rescue's fund balance to be around $1.3 million at the end of the fiscal year. Do you have any questions?
Just for clarification, and this does not include any of the grants, monies, opiate, that kind of thing. It's separate in part from that.
Right. So,
All right.
okay. Finally, let's review the road department fund. We began fiscal year 24 with a fund balance of $1.6 million. Revenue for the first 2 quarters, including budgeted transfers from the general fund, was $1.1 million. Expenditures totaled $1.3 million, resulting in a use of their department's fund balance of around $211,000 for the first 2 quarters, making the road department's fund balance $1.4 million as of March 31st. If revenue and expenditures continue at the same rate, you can expect the road department's fund balance to be around $1.2 million at the end of this fiscal year. Any questions?
For good financial management, what is a projected percentage of our actual budget do we need to keep in reserve for the year?
I will have to get back with you on that one.
That's okay. So, more simply put, I guess I'm asking, what percentage of our actual funds for overall that we need to keep in reserve so that if we had a catastrophic situation, that we'll be able to manage it or repair, do any kind of repairs, if we had to do something with our infrastructure, just a projective amount, if they can just provide that for us. it'll
Okay.
help. You know how some people say, well, keep at least a quarter or keep 6 months worth of funds
The
or keep a
auditors say
year.
around 3 to 4 months worth of
Okay. Okay.
expenditures.
Madam Chair, I believe it's legislated that it has to be 3 months.
Okay.
But to calculate that for you, we'd have to figure out the restricted reserves,
Oh,
reserves,
Okay.
and
All right.
money that's specified for gas tax and,
Right.
and
Okay.
so on.
Right.
It'd be a lengthy calculation.
Yes, sir.
But we could get it.
Okay, and I think it's, we've tried to keep the 3 months, but I think we need to kind of try to work on keeping a little bit more than 3 months if we had something really major to happen so that we have funds in the reserve. Oh, okay. Okay, did you say that loud so we need to,
I like the way you think
okay,
on some things. I mean, I like,
okay. But yes, I just think, for the preservation of our county and our financial livelihood, that we need to try to reserve more than just 3 months. All right. Thank you, Ms. Alfani. All right. And, okay, our sheriff has reported. Did you have anything else, Sheriff Smith? Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. All right, and agenda item 10, our county manager report. Mr. Carnegie?
Thank you, Madam Chair. What I'd like to do now is ask Lieutenant David Weeks to come up and give us an update on the community paramedicine program.
Madam Chair, board.
Yes.
While he's getting the PowerPoint set up, I just wanted to take a moment and recognize Lieutenant Weeks and Chief Rogers as well for their work on the community paramedicine program. It's been outstanding. The things that they've been able to accomplish in just under a month have been pretty remarkable. And I told David that Lieutenant Weeks that when he took this position, he needed to hit the ground running and not let off the gas, and he has not done that. So he's done very, very good and has excelled in this position. And so yeah, I'll turn it over to him and quit talking.
Good morning.
Mr. Weeks?
morning.
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 I just think it's important to take a few minutes to kind of highlight what we've done over the past months. Like he said, it's been a very busy couple weeks. We've done some great stuff so far. So, I think it's important, our program overview. What is our goal of the program? So our goal is to engage with the residents who might benefit from services to help improve their quality of life, overcome addiction to opioids or other substances, and connect them with the resources at our community. So when we first started the program, some of the initial things that we wanted to do was identify, patients that could benefit from our program, network with other fire departments, see what they're doing, the best practices, things like that. And then establish partnerships with local agencies, whether that be Meridian, Department of Health, transport companies, faith organizations, things of that sort. And then we wanted to research ways to streamline those processes. How can we better serve our patients here in Bradford County? So the first month, we've taken in a total of 6 official patients that we're actually following, and that's on a one-to-one basis, going to the residents, building phone calls, helping them to get to appointments, all of that. So 3 of those patients are substance abuse patients. Methamphetamine and fentanyl use is the big thing with all 3 of those. Then we're following another 3 just for chronic disease management. And that entails, going to their home, helping them with their medications, if they have transportation needs, nutritional needs, things of that nature. So how are we finding these patients? So first and foremost, we're in the design phase for a new website, and that'll be a department website. And our overall goal of that is to have the ability to have some type of online form to where whether it's a person, a family member, a friend, they can go on there and refer this patient. Once that referral is filled out, it would be emailed to me or another member of the CRP team, whether that be chief or whoever. And from there, we could reach out and see if there's any way that we could help. Additionally, we're wanting to really expand our public outreach. So we're going to start getting active at the community health hubs, as in, Hampton, Lottie. And we're also just attending all the festivals, seeing, really trying to get our program out there to anybody that we can help. And then the third way that we're really going to do it is public advertising. We've got a bunch of brochures that we're getting ready to hand out. We're going to place them in public areas such as the library, the chamber, health department, things of that nature. Now we're also looking at creating a joint commercial, if you will, with the Department of Health, and I was also going to invite Meridian. And essentially, this commercial will be played at the movie theater here in town. Just as you guys know, there's a lot of foot traffic in there. All right, so some of the services that we offer, these are kind of like the three primary things that we focus on. Chronic disease management. So as I mentioned earlier, that's kind of going into the home. Maybe they don't understand what this medication does, when they're supposed to take it. We're kind of hand-holding, if you will, through that process to make sure that they're doing the right thing to really take care of themselves. Substance abuse education, that's the real big one. That's, what our primary focus is going to be. There's a lot of substance abuse issues in Bradford County. The biggest problem is getting that patient on board. That person has to really want the help. We can offer it to them, but, we can't force them to take it. So a big part of that process is once we do identify a patient with like a substance abuse issue, we'll kind of go over some of the local resources, whether that be a discussion group, Meridian Rehabilitation, things of that nature. And we'll kind of, walk them through the process of, you go to the Gainesville Center for Rehab, this is kind of what you can expect. Or, if you go to this discussion group in Melrose, there's others like yourself that you can discuss your problems with. And then the third one, which has been pretty popular, is hospital discharge follow-ups. This is for the people who are discharged with a bunch of medications. They may not understand, what this medication is. Why do I have to take it? So we're just going to their home after they've been discharged to discuss with them, make sure they understand their discharge paperwork, and then make sure that there's no unmet needs that they might have. Okay. All right, so these are just some of the things that I wanted to kind of highlight. These are things that, we were kind of proud of as a service to really get going. First and foremost, we did our first telehealth appointment yesterday with a patient in home. This patient had a cough for a couple of days. She was wanting to utilize 911 services, but we kind of talked to her, we evaluated her and realized that, hey, a hospital might not be appropriate. Let's see if we can get you on board with a doctor via telehealth. And so we had that appointment. She was able to talk to a doctor over the phone. And then she actually had some prescriptions filled. We went and got those prescriptions, took them back to the patient. And, we eliminated an ambulance ride. We eliminated her having to necessarily sit in an emergency department for potentially hours on end. And then another one that we're really proud of is a primary care visit. So one of our substance abuse patients that we follow pretty closely, it had been, I think, at least 3 years since he had seen a primary care doctor. So working with Main Street Family Care, the urgent care center right across from Walmart, we're able to first make sure that his insurance is up to date. Once we got that established, we helped him log into his online portal, get all that set up, and then we actually helped him register for a primary care appointment at that urgent care center. And then we actually went and physically met him that day at the care center to ensure that he got checked in okay and that everything went smoothly. We've also started to distribute Narcan to our substance abuse users, and how we've been doing it is, especially for the patients that we do follow, if they are a known substance abuse user, we are leaving 2 doses of Narcan there, in addition to giving them education on you know, when to use it, and also if there's any family members or bystanders or things like that. And then risk reduction, that's also another big focus of ours. Recently we had one of our patients fall off of a deck that they have in their backyard. This patient actually sustained a broke neck, a broke back, and a broke nose. Identifying that was a very acute, you know, need, we worked with Cross Church and Trinity Baptist Church. They have like a small team of builders that help do decks and stairs and things like that. So we were actually able to get that deck replaced free of charge to the patient. You know, hopefully that'll help prevent a future fall for them. So. Okay. All right, and this is just some photos of the deck. What you see up top is what was initially there. And on the bottom there, you have the new deck and then some of the builders that helped us. Real good project, and you know, I hope this is something that we can kind of incorporate into our program moving forward, is identifying risk like this, so we're able to kind of fix and improve people. Okay. And then looking ahead, you know, what are we planning to do in the future? So first and foremost, down the road, I'd love to expand this program to you know, really focus on substance abuse. A lot of the bigger, more well-established programs are assisting with, you know, medication treatments and things of that nature. And then I'd also really like to kind of focus on the chronic health management as well. So that's, you know, in-home lab values, a urinalysis, things of that nature. And then I have it mentioned here, you know, an opioid education program. We're really wanting to hit the ground running and start getting out information on opioid abuse, Narcan, you know, how do I use it? What signs do I look for in an overdose? Things of that nature. A drug disposal program. So we do something similar a few times a year. I believe the sheriff does it. But essentially, you know, where do these people take their old opioids that they don't use? You know, I don't know about you guys. I had surgery years ago and I still have a bottle of, you know, oxycodone sitting on my shelf that I never took. You know, how do they safely get rid of that? So I'd like to identify a way to where, you know, patients are able to drop those medications off and we can safely dispose of them. And then increased community involvement. We're really starting to focus on ways to where we can start getting our word out. So the community hubs, they're going to be a real good option for us, I think. And we're in the process of renovating the old bookmobile to essentially be like a mobile clinic, if you will. Our thoughts with that is we'll be able to, you know, if somebody wants more information on substance abuse, we can bring them into a more private setting at a festival or something, sit down with them, go over their options, and maybe even sign them up if they're a good fit. And then last, I won't get us in the weeds with it, billing for services. A lot of departments around the state are beginning to bill for community resources. And essentially how that works is a physician or a nurse practitioner or something like that does a social determinants of health assessment. And that's, do they need nutritional assistance, transportation assistance, things of that. And then once that's been complete, the community paramedic or a health worker will go out, you know, work with that patient to fulfill those needs. And then the insurance company is billed directly by the provider who initiated that visit. That's just another option for us down the road once we do get, you know, a little bit more established and get our ducks in a row. But and that's all I've got.
Okay. And just, yeah, and thank you. I just wanted to just suggest too, in terms of your PR, for agencies like our chamber,
Yes, ma'am.
because your typical opiate abuser is not necessarily your street type person,
Sure.
but there may be your physician or your, you know, professional person. So utilizing your chamber as a PR place for your brochures and information, and also your barbershops and beauty shops are another key areas for that.
Yes, ma'am.
And then another area in which you have a captive audience would be your sheriff department, where they have many patients that are arrested that are there, that are sitting opiate clients?
Yes, ma'am. Eventually, I'd like to get some sort of program to where we can get in the jail and kind of start to identify those patients. That's something that Clay County currently does. They work very closely with the jail. If they do have a known substance abuse user incarcerated, they'll actually go in and, you know, make sure all those needs are being met on the health side of it. So.
Okay. And just one little area of caution is in your telemedicine piece.
Yes.
Your opiate abusers or your substance abusers are the most manipulative clients you could encounter. So you want to do as many face-to-face with them as possible.
Yes,
That's
for sure.
and thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Any questions, comment from the board? All right.
Madam
Yes, sir.
Chair, if I may, I just want to point out that, you know, I spent almost 25 years with the Jacksonville Fire and Rescue Department, so I had a front row seat to many things that became best practices, leading edge programs that were created. And I'll have to say that this community paramedicine program that these gentlemen have taken on and have gotten off the ground is one of the most impressive things I've seen in my career. And I can't applaud Lieutenant Weeks and Chief Rogers and Chief Carter enough. I mean, it's only been 4 weeks or maybe even less. And they're operating as if this thing has been stood up for 6 months or better. So I'm very, very proud. I'm very, very pleased. And I just wanted the board to know what we have here in this fire department.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Weeks.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Carnegie?
Yes, ma'am. One other thing, I just wanted to mention that on the consent agenda today, we approved to go forward with the grant for an economic development strategic plan. Amber Shepard is here with us this morning from the Northeast Florida Economic Development Corporation, and we're all very excited about this opportunity. We've asked for $75,000 to fund a study. And if we're successful and we were able to get that, that'll be a huge, huge step in the direction of economic development here in Bradford County.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. And our county attorney's report, Mr. Rob Bradley.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The issue that I wanted to present for consideration to the commission today regarding the county manager contract, a potential update to it. And if it is the board's pleasure, what I would recommend would be that there be a motion to ask the chairman to enter into potential negotiations for an update. And then you could bring those fruits of that labor to a future meeting, Madam Chair.
Okay. Board hearing the request from our turnout asked that you ask for a motion to allow me as the chair to enter into contract negotiations with our county manager and bring it back for future recommendation. Is that?
That is correct, ma'am.
Yes, sir. All right.
I'll make a motion that the chairwoman go into negotiations with the county manager and then bring that back to the board for discussion.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Daughtry. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Thompson. Any questions, discussion?
Yes.
Yeah.
During that time, will we have any input on that, or?
I think what the Mr. Commando had asked for us each to meet with the county manager and give him our feedback on how well we think he's done, and share that feedback with him. And so I think if each individual board member has some suggestion regarding the contract, if you can get that information to Mr. Bradley or to Amanda, and we can use that as a part of the input into the contract negotiation. Would that be acceptable?
Sure, I'm happy, and Mr. Commander would be happy to talk to any commissioner about this matter. You know, the thing that we always try to guard against is not having communication with one another using a third party. What you're describing would not be that in any way, shape, or form. So, but I would recommend that if you have some specific thoughts on things, to share those with us, and we can certainly make sure that that's a part of the mix.
Okay.
Well, it's just, you know, probably over a year ago, we had asked for employee evaluations to be set up so that we can go over things and we don't have to do it in open forum as we are here today, like in our last meeting. I was caught off guard and wasn't prepared because I wasn't aware that that's what we were going to be doing. And, but anytime that I evaluate an employee, I like to sit down with them and talk to them about strengths and weaknesses, things that have been done and things that haven't been done, and whether or not that brings about a raise or something else. But I think it's something that needs to be discussed and not just that we say we're going to give him a raise or we're not going to give him a raise. So that's my concern,
Yeah.
is that we do not have any discussion whatsoever about problems that we may have or may not have.
And Mr. Bradley, in the past, and I shared that with Mr. Carnegie, in past employment that I've had, when you have to meet with your subordinates and whatever, there's something in writing so that you can share with that person their strengths and weaknesses, as Ms. Andrews indicated, so that if there's areas of improvement, that person hears that too. You hear the glowing, everything that you've done right, but what are those areas of improvements? We don't have a written evaluation process to do that. And I guess I'm not accustomed to just the verbal piece. So for going forward, I would recommend that we put some things in writing that could be developed through your office and with me, you know, that we can bring to the board for future based on what we're asking the manager to do, so that you have something concrete, something written that you can give that feedback to the person, if that makes sense.
Well, I think we've already asked for that, and we just haven't. It just hasn't been done. And I think that we would use the job description,
Yes.
as criteria of what is required for each of us, you know, to do in our positions. That way, we can say, you know, you're doing great here, but this area needs a little work.
And that's what I've been accustomed to when I work with the city. You know, we had a written standard evaluation. That feedback was given. Consensus from all five was put in a summary. And so, but anyhow, if maybe that's something we can do going forward.
Is the request from the commission that a document be produced that has some sort of formal evaluation that's in written form from each of the commissioners? Is that
Yeah.
what I'm understanding, or?
It would be an evaluation that it would be the same from for each of us. It would just be listing the different parts of the job description. I can get an example from the Department of Corrections. I mean, we did it all the time. I mean, for the different ranks. And
We will distribute a form from our office that reflects what you're describing.
Okay.
All right?
From your office?
Yes. If that's okay. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fine.
and then you can provide those responses back to them, and then you will all see it and have discussions amongst yourselves. But those discussions would be in a public forum.
Okay.
You're not allowed to talk offline about these types of matters.
No,
I'm not saying you're suggesting that, Madam Commissioner. I know you're not.
Definitely wasn't.
Right.
What I was speaking about was the way that I've always done it is to bring staff in and sit down with them and talk to them about strengths and weaknesses. Of course, I know it's different because there's 5 people on the board, but yes, sir.
If you want to have one-on-one meetings with the manager, which is I think what was previously discussed, you can do that at any time. You could have a discussion with the parameters you described, one-on-one. If you want to do it as a group, it would be in this setting, set up
Correct.
just like this at a meeting like this.
Okay.
Okay. Any further?
Yes.
Anything further?
Well, what I hear is that you would like to, let me back up. Is there a consensus of the board for me to send that document out? Or for either Mr. Cornegay or I's office to send the document out that was described? Is that a consensus? Or do y'all want to
Mr.
not?
Reddick, Mr.
God, I don't know why we just can't meet with Mr. Cornegay one-on-one and just talk to him. And then we just voted to have you negotiate with the county attorney and Mr. Cornegay and then bring it back to the board when you're done. I mean, if I got a problem with Mr. Cornegay, I'm going to Mr. Cornegay. I'm not gonna fill out a paperwork and send it to him. I'm gonna go to his office and talk to him face to face. And I think that's what each and every one of us should do. In fact, I've already done that with Mr. Cornegay about this particular item. So that's my thoughts on it.
If I could share, Madam Chair, the way my evaluations are done is, it's very, it's structured obviously, and then it has, different categories, and then, whether you meet expectations, exceed expectations, and so on. And we fill that out first. So, it would be the categories that we would ask, Mr. Cornegay to fill out based on, evaluating himself. And then we go in and then we review that evaluation and we determine, based on what, how he thinks he's doing his job and how we think he's doing his job. And then at some point, we have a point system, 2 points, 3 points, 3.75, 4 points. And then we're able to come up with something that we can all agree on where we feel like he is. If he's above, the 3 mark, being 1 to 5, or if he's below the 3 mark. And then at that point, if he exceeds expectations in all areas, which it's very rare to find somebody that does that, then we're talking about negotiating, maybe more at the higher end. But if it's somewhere around a 4, then we're coming back and looking at it and just trying to determine what's the incremental increase that we're going to allow for Mr. Cornegay.
So right now, my understanding is there's not been a motion approved to have you talking about how.
We did enter a motion for me to,
Right, but I don't think that's been voted on.
we just had the discussion
Correct.
at this time.
I say that not to interrupt the flow of y'all's conversation, but just to put focus on what is before you, that motion, and then this other issue about what should be done or not done before such time as this matter's heard again by the board. That's all.
Okay.
So coming back to that, what you're saying is have that evaluation period and then go into the negotiations discussion.
I'm not saying, I'm not trying to push or pull in any one direction or the other. Everyone has had their own all 5 of you are successful in your own right and have had dealings with how to handle evaluations of individuals that work in organizations that you're involved in. And some are different than others, some are the same, right? Just trying to but it's ultimately up to at least 3 of you to come to a conclusion about how you want to handle it. If you just vote on the motion, all that's going to happen next, if you vote on the motion and nothing else, all that will happen next is that the chair will come back with a proposal, and you could say, this isn't good enough, sounds great, I would like to have more information, I'd like to have more discussion, and that would be the nature of the next step at your next meeting. Another, yes, sir.
Mr. Thompson?
I mean, I got to agree with Commissioner Riddick fully. I mean, if any of us has a problem or want, I mean, we go to him. I mean, so why couldn't we do it one-on-one?
And if I may add, we also heard, what about a 30-minute presentation of everything that was done in the past year? So we all know, I mean, we live it every day, but also Mr. Cornegay took the time to make that super nice presentation of everything that's been done, everything that's been accomplished, all the goals, all the achievements, what we've done in the past, what he's planning on doing in the future. So he's already laid it out for each and every one of us exactly what he's doing, what he's planning on doing, and that's why I figured we can just talk to him one-on-one and move forward.
Yes.
That would be my suggestion.
Commissioner Reddick, in the normal business world, government or otherwise, there's a written evaluation for persons that are under our supervision. That's just the normal process. It's not usually just a verbal evaluation that's given for persons that you're supervised. That's I think that's what Ms. Andrews was asking, and that's what I suggested in the past, and I think that's what Mr. Doherty was trying to convey, how they're accustomed to evaluating persons. There is a motion on the floor for me to enter contract negotiations for Mr. Carnegie. So we can vote on that motion and move forward with having a written evaluation for future.
If I can make just one more comment.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Mr. Carnegie did an excellent
Mm-hmm.
presentation on everything that we have accomplished. But of course, in doing that, we didn't list what we haven't done and what was told. Basically, we don't have time to do that, or I can't present that. There's different things that if things hadn't occurred, I wouldn't have said that. But we didn't make a list of things that we haven't done or things that we have slowly done. And there's room for improvement in everybody, in every one of us. And do I go to Mr. Cornegay about problems that I have? Yes, I do. But there's things that we haven't went forward on, we haven't moved on and we haven't done, just like the employee evaluations that I'm speaking about. This was brought up a long time ago. Different policies, the 5-year plan. I mean, still, even though we've been talking about it for a year, it's not done. So there's several things that we need to move forward on that we haven't done. And so, and I don't want to get into that in an open forum. I would rather speak with him or do an evaluation so that it can be reviewed, and then we can all sit down and, like Mr. Daughtry was saying, then we can make an educated decision based on not only the good, but maybe the problem areas as well. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not that he doesn't do a great job, because he does, but there are areas that I feel like that we need to focus on.
Okay.
Can I just add to that,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chair? When I was talking about my evaluation, if you read my evaluation that I did first, you would hire me as the president of my company. I mean, you know, really. And when I say that, Mr. Cornegay did an outstanding job with his presentation. But if there are some things that we think that he's not doing, then that would allow us the opportunity through an evaluation, because I would guess that most of us, based on that evaluation, or based on that presentation throughout the evaluation, he's going to get very high marks, but there are going to be some areas that need improvement. And so I think that going back to what the counselor was saying is that if we just jump right to the negotiation right now, then we've already said that we're extremely happy with everything that Mr. Cornegay has done. And now we're just negotiating a salary rather than going back and taking step one and going through an evaluation process. And counselor, am I saying that right? Am I tracking that right? As far as just what you're saying, if there's a motion out there for negotiation, then we're not going back to any part of having an evaluation.
I could amend my motion to state that would you and I or Mr. Commando to develop an evaluation tool based on the position descriptions and expectations for the manager to use as an evaluation instrument, and thereafter I could enter into negotiation for the with the contract.
I think that if you want to have an evaluation period before you enter into negotiations, and it'd be a two-part process, then we need to probably first agree on the evaluation tool. Why don't one be presented? Then at your next council meeting, you decide whether that's the tool you want to use or not.
Okay.
And if the answer is yes, then you might go forward and prepare on your own time the evaluation tool. I mean, you know, fill it out, and then that can all be gathered, and then you can all decide whether you want to enter negotiations after that.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But that needs to be three or more of you to decide in that direction, and there's not it's not 100% clear that there's three or more of you that agree on one particular course of action or not. I present that as a response to Commissioner Daugherty's question, not as a endorsement of that way of doing things or not doing that.
Okay.
It's up to you.
If I could just add too, though, I just want to say, I mean, as far as the presentation and in the almost 2 years that Mr. Cornegay has been on board as county manager, I think he's done an outstanding job. And I think that, you know, with the amount of people that he supervises, you know, based on the number of people that other departments or other offices supervise, you know, fire and rescue, you know, the road department, and you go on with maintenance and the library and just all of the folks that he does and supervises just with Amanda and no other assistance other than, and when I say that, I know that he gets assistance from the clerk's office and he gets assistance from some of the offices, you know, the sheriff's office with fire rescue and those types of things. But, you know, again, it's to me, it's cut and dry that we picked the right person. There's no doubt about that. And I think that he's made all of our jobs a lot easier just through his actions every day and the things that he's done. You know, just, I mean, we can list them on and on. We've seen the presentation. But as far as an actual evaluation process, I do understand having something that we're able to, you know, be able to, you know, put pen to paper and make that evaluation. And again, at the end of the day, like I said, I think most of us would give very high marks for what he has done. But, you know, it does give an opportunity, you know, for some of us, if there's something that we don't feel like he's met expectations on, then we're able to bring that up so that he himself can make the self-improvement to be able to do that as we move forward.
Okay. I can concur. Go ahead,
Can I just
Commissioner
make-
Andrews.
And I think one important thing that should be considered is the amount of his salary. If I can just step back in time, Brad Carter made $69,000 as our county manager. Rachel, who was promoted after he left, only made 59,000. And, Mr. Cornegay at the time makes 110,000 plus $500 monthly for vehicle. The Baker County, manager makes 74,800. So I think that we need to look at that when we're talking about negotiating an increase in salary. Also, we need to consider, I mean, where we are. So there's a lot that, you know, needs to be said before we negotiate on whether or not an increase should be made.
In that case, Attorney Bradley, I would withdraw my motion to enter into negotiation for the contract, and then ask for a motion to develop the evaluation tool for the board to do its individual evaluation, that can be summarized, and then thereafter enter into contract negotiation for an increase.
Madam Chair and Mr. Bradley, thank you. The motion was made by Commissioner Doherty and it was seconded by Commissioner Thompson. So
Right. So, is, the consensus to withdraw the original motion?
It is by me.
Yes.
To withdraw the motion for negotiation.
Yes,
Yes.
you made the motion. Who made the second?
Mr. Thompson.
Is there a third person that wants to have that withdrawn, that motion, before y'all vote on it?
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, so that motion's withdrawn, Madam Clerk. Now we have a clean slate. Is there a motion that the commission would like to consider regarding this matter?
I make a motion that we have an evaluation stage prior to the negotiations.
Okay. Ms. Andrews made the motion for your evaluation stage prior to negotiation. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
And the second by Commissioner Doherty. Any further question, discussion? All in favor by the consensus, aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 3 yes, 2 no. Okay.
In response to that, then,
The yeas have
I'm
it.
going to speak that 3-2 approval. In response to that, Mr. Cornegay and I will provide a form that will not, don't do anything with the form. Y'all get together at your next meeting and look at and discuss the form, whether you like it or not.
Okay,
All right?
okay.
Don't fill out the form. You talk to Mr. Cornegay anytime you want about any of these matters, obviously, like you always do. And then if you want to move forward with the form that's provided or make modifications to it because you feel like it doesn't accurately reflect what you're looking to accomplish with the form, then y'all can have that discussion amongst yourselves at the next meeting.
And I would like to add that the individual commissioners can make suggestions for what they'd like to be covered in the form.
Okay?
Okay? All right,
Yes.
all right. Okay. All right, anything else, Mr. Bradley?
Madam Chair, that is all I had.
All right, thank you. Commissioners' comments, Commissioner Andrews?
Yes, we spoke about an appreciation day for the employees of Bradford County. And I spoke with all of the constitutional officers, and the majority of them said that they want to do that. And I thank you, Sheriff, because Sheriff, he jumped up the next day, gave me a call, and has offered his cooking team to help us. And so I believe that the date that we set was, I think it is the first Thursday in June, which would be June 6th. And Ben left before I had a chance to ask him. But if everything works out, we're going to have it in his area right there where they park the trucks and everything. So we'll set up there and cook there and have everybody come. I've asked Mr. Cornegay to make sure that the staff who work the where we dump the trash, that, yeah, collection sites, thank you, that they be allowed to, close up at 11:30 and come and eat and then maybe go back to work at, 1 or 2 or however long we need it to be. But, so that they get included as well. And I think this is, obviously, this, to me, this is a very important thing. I'm accustomed to the way the sheriff does it, the Department of Corrections, they do it all week. And it's little things like donuts in the morning or popcorn being set up in an office and just little things to let them know how much we do appreciate them. And so with that said, hopefully we can pull it, and maybe next year, if it goes well, then we can make it where it can be a family event on a Saturday. So, and other than that, I think that's all.
I just had one thing. I'm not trying to be negative, but I can see doing it during a work day, but on a Saturday in the middle of the summer with the lake super calm, I don't know what kind of turnout you're going to get. I'm just being honest. That's right off of July 4th. That's a huge weekend.
Well, a lot of times, if you have someone that works or is an officer out at Kingsley Lake, that's where we used to have ours, and we had massive turnout. And I think if the people had an opportunity to come and play at the lake and cook out there, and I think that they would be, I think them and their families would have a great time.
Yeah, and please, I'm not trying to be, but as for myself, I already know I won't be there. Because July 4th weekend, that's huge for my family. I mean, my daughter comes in with her family, my son comes in with his family, and we're on the lake.
She was saying June the 6th.
Oh, June 6th. I'm
June
sorry.
the
I thought
6th.
you were saying July 6th.
No.
June the
I
6th.
apologize.
And I would never do it on July 4th.
It's a
She was
Thursday.
saying moving forward, maybe we do it on a Saturday. So
But for this one coming up, she was saying June the 6th, which would be Thursday, which would be the first Thursday in June.
No, it's
I
okay.
thought
And
you
it
said
will
July
be,
6th, and I'm thinking, I was.
It'll just be a luncheon.
Okay.
and it'll be, weekday, that's a Thursday, for the lunch at 11:30 is what she's recommending this year.
Okay.
Okay. I'm happy because Mr. Carnegie can tell you, I've been bringing it up for the past year that, asking that we consult our department heads to see how they would feel about it. And I think it would be a good thing for our county employees. Is it the consensus of the board that we move forward with doing this on the 6th of June?
we decide how are we funding this? What do we?
Oh, I forgot that. Say, I was going to ask for a donation from you guys and the other constitutionals. I was going to ask for $100, but if you can't, then whatever you're able to give. And then I think the sheriff said that he has some in an account that he uses for different functions. Thank you.
I'm willing to donate.
Okay.
All right, but at least to get the consensus from the board that we would move forward with that date. Is that okay? Okay.
Yes. And you have to remember when anything that you start, the first year you might be slow. The second year you might have a few more. But as time goes on and people become accustomed to different events that's being held in their honor, they become more involved. And I honestly think that our staff would appreciate something being done special for them. I mean, I just can't imagine not doing that. It's bothered me ever since I got here. And so I'm just thrilled that the sheriff is going to help us and we're going to try to do this.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Andrews. Anything else? Commissioner Thompson?
Yeah, I'd just like to say, few things. I don't know if I could live in a big, big county. I love Bradford County and the surrounding counties, the small rural counties. As y'all seen this morning, people pulling together and helping this and helping that one with the fire. And, you know, we can go to our people. I mean, Sheriff, if I needed him, I can go to him. I mean, and it's like a big family here. And I'm gonna be here till I die. They say to get to heaven, you got to go through Bradford County to get there. And I believe, well, Lord, he was Bradford County too. But no, and I appreciate all the department heads. I mean, they do a super job, pull together, they work together, and all the way down to the janitors. Look how clean they keep these buildings. Go in the bathroom and look. Every time you go in there, it's spotless. And they don't get a bunch of recognition, but I appreciate them too. That's all I got to say.
Thank you. Commissioner Doherty?
I just want to say, if y'all would keep in prayer, our public defender, Miss Stacy Scott. She lost her husband, who was a dear friend of mine. He was a dear friend of the sheriff's, Joel Brewer. And anyway, she lost him last week. And so keep her and their son Colt in your prayers and their family, please. You know, so we all know Stacy, and like I said, Joel was one of a kind, right, Sheriff? He was, and he'll be missed. And Denny also. I apologize, Mr. Clerk. But anyway, just if you would keep them in your prayers, and you know, this is going to come up more as we get close to the budget season. And you know, when earlier when I agree with what you were saying, Ms. Spooner, about, you know, saving more in our reserves. You know, it's you know, if you compare it to, and you see it more around the first of the month. You can go to the grocery stores, you can go to Walmart, and you know, you see people, maybe a single mom with a couple of children, and you know, the kids are throwing stuff in the basket and mama's putting it back on the shelf. You know, she's buying just the things she needs to get by. And, you know, we can't get to the register, be in our budget meeting, and not be able to afford the things that we have. And eventually, I know, because people, you know, just by human nature want something for nothing. You know, we just have to, you know, watch every dollar and every dime that we spend, and understand when the people come forward and say, you know, but we need this, you know, then we're listening to the people. But, you know, as we go along and we keep throwing stuff in the cart, you know, it's very important that we decide, you know, what do we really need, and so that when we get to the register, we have enough, because they can't walk up to the register, not have enough, and walk out the door with a full cart. And we can't either, you know, and government tends to do that, you know, and so we just have to be more responsible, more accountable to each other and to the citizens of Bradford County. And again, like I said, I think you will find that most people do come and say, well, you know, why aren't they mowing the ditches? Why aren't they cutting the ditches? Why aren't they doing this? How come we're not getting the response here from, you know, fire and rescue? You know, what's going on, you know, with the new deputies in the city? And everybody asks these questions, but it's something that everybody wants. And so you have to let the people tell you that that's what they want. And I think eventually that is what happens. But, you know, we just can't be, again, loading down as many grocery carts as we can, and then moving right to the door without paying for it.
Thank you. Commissioner Red?
Yeah, Board, I just want to say, what a great meeting. I thank everyone for coming here today. And like Mr. Thompson mentioned, I mean, it's just awesome to live in Bradford County. I'll tell you what, with those three men that stopped and saved that lady's home, I mean, just tremendous. And then Lieutenant Weeks, what he's already doing with the program, getting it up and running. It's just awesome to sit on this board in Bradford County. I just want to say that. And then also, Board, going along with taxes and stuff that we have to do. I just think that it's finally coming into play. I know we've all caught it about the gas tax when we passed it, but now look at all the roads we're getting done. And I think this morning we just voted to get 8 more done off the gas tax money. So a lot of times you don't want to come up with a tax, but boy, that sure is starting to come and really work out nice for the citizens of Bradford County. And looking forward to getting more roads done. So, but anyway, but thank y'all. I'm sorry for the confusion. I sure thought you said July 6th, and I'm thinking that's on a Saturday. So, but anyway, I apologize for that. But anyway, thank you. Thank everyone for being here.
Thank you. And I too want to thank everyone today that were here. And just to share a few things, we had a successful Shirley Ann Brown Livingston Scholarship Foundation Cancer Awareness Walk the weekend before last, and we had about 50 participants out in the rain. And we raised at least $3,000. Those are 3 scholarships for local students, and we will be giving out 5 scholarships for this year. We had the RJE groundbreaking for a new playground and the May Day Festival this past weekend. It was very well attended. I mean, little kids all over the place, and they planted that maypole and did a good job. The 12 guys in bow ties and 12 girls in pearls, they got it done. But it was a wonderful day, and God blessed us with good weather and no rain. Just to remind you that May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's also the National Corrections Appreciation Time. It's also National Nurses and Teachers Week. So let's remember all of those folks and let them know how much we appreciate them. And we have to look at our mental health needs in our community and our substance abuse needs. Mental illness is a very serious issue in our community, and substance abuse is horrible. And we need to do all that we can to provide services to that group. And whatever funding that we can get to help these areas is important. Also wanted to remind you of the Hampton Hub grand opening. Is going to be May the 14th at 10 a.m. That's when they start their ceremony. And if you can participate and be there to share your support would be great. And remember, this weekend is Mother's Day. So if you have a living mother, you're tremendously blessed. Let them know how much you appreciate them. And if not, honor the one that you did have. It might be an aunt, grandma, or sister. Do that because there's nothing like the love of a mother. Also, May the 9th is a Northeast Florida Economic Development Corp's learning luncheon at the conference center, 11:30 to 1. I remind you of that. And this year, as we embark upon our new budget, let us consider, being conservative in our budget and our spending, and let's not spend everything that we have, leave something in reserve, and let us try to work towards having more than 3 months of savings there. But at the same time, we're looking at our community. We are maxed out at 10 mills, and if there's any way that we can reduce that millage, that we look at that. But again, we have to look at our budget as a whole and what we can do. So be thinking about all of that, and just doing the best that we can, be good stewards of our county's resources. With that, I thank all of you. Sheriff?
So the fire chief just texted me, Sheriff, and he said there's no serious injuries, but it is a mess. Yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I do have one other thing,
Mm-hmm.
at the risk of overflowing the shopping cart, but the board does need to make a decision like now on COLAs. You've all been given a spreadsheet showing the cost of a 3%, 4%, and 5% raise. I have to have all my budgets to the clerk by May 17th, which is a week from this Friday. So we need some direction.
There you go.
Well,
Gordon. I said, well, there you go. 3%,
You do,
4%,
you,
5%.
you do have another meeting prior to the
What-
17th,
Yeah,
May 16th.
so we have a May 16th and we can make that decision then.
You could, yes, ma'am.
So, okay, and considering our budget, because we're still going over the budget to see what all those numbers are. So that give us a little time to digest the information and, make an informed, decision about it.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
let's make that decision on the 16th.
Okay. Yeah,
About what
I'm
that would
just,
be.
I'm just trying to make it easy on the clerk. Ms.
Absolutely.
LaFollette.
Oh, absolutely. So they'll let us know what that would look like if we did a 3 or if we did a 4 or whatever.
It'd be preferable if you all make a decision on the 16th as far as what you want. As Mr. Cornegay indicated, he's given you a list of all the board employees as far as 3, 4, 5%. When we get our budgets, it takes us that whole time until August to prepare those budgets and then present to you. Based on our trim calendar, the clerk has to present to you all a tentative budget at that first meeting in August. So we don't need to have 3, 4 different versions at that meeting. We need to have a version.
Well, I was just simply saying that, Ms. Rodin, that we can, with informed information, look at what would that leave our budget at if we did a 3%? What would it leave it at if we did that? So we have that information to digest before the 16th.
Well, Amanda will resend that form out to each of you.
Okay. Okay. And then on July the 18th, I believe, is. It's July the 18th, I think that's our budget meeting. That was our proposed millage. Is that correct?
That is, let me see here.
Okay.
That's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
At your July 18th meeting, that is when the board is going to set the proposed millage rate.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Hearing what is suggested, let's look at our budgets and see what we can come up with on the 16th for our next meeting. If there's nothing more for the good of the order, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.